Welcome to Time Capsule, where we explore life in the 21st century through the eyes of people just like you and me. I'm Monica.
And I'm Joerenz.
Today we have former Secret Service agent and author, Miss Lauren Fernandez. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So, can you tell us a little more about yourself and what you do? What inspired you to take on your profession?
Yeah, so I just wrote my book, Talkback Barbie, the Secret Service edition. And it's a long story, but it's actually a humorous account about my time working in the Secret Service. So think like Legally Blonde meets Miss Congeniality, and that's what you get when you read Talkback Barbie. So I'll start from the beginning, but my dream job was actually to work with the FBI in the Violent Crimes Unit and catch the bad guys. That sounded so fun and surreal to me. And after watching all the FBI shows, it really inspired me to go that route with federal law enforcement. However, I was too young to get into the FBI straight out of college. So I decided to join the Secret Service instead. And I was going to use that as a gateway into the FBI. I didn't want a profession where I sat behind a computer all day. I really wanted something where I felt like I was doing something important for our country. So unfortunately, after a few years of working with the Secret Service, I got really bored with shift work and mundane tasks and having no social life because it's very demanding. And I decided to take a government consulting job with the National Counterterrorism Center in Northern Virginia. So I worked for them for a few years, and then we ended up moving back here to Georgia, where I'm from. And I now work part-time as an executive assistant with an energy company called JRL Coal, and then became obviously a self-published author in the meantime. But I think my diverse resume and my unique work experiences are really what inspired me to write the book. I wanted to share these experiences with people who, especially women who want to go into law enforcement, and show people that when you have your heart set on something, that you can really accomplish anything regardless of the obstacles set in front of you.
So, were any of your family members also from the Secret Service or like any governmental jobs?
No, actually, I was the only one who wanted to go this route, and my dad supported me the whole time. My whole family supported me, but my dad really supported me, even though it was a dangerous profession. My mom supported me as well, but she was kind of like, "Oh gosh, that's gonna be a little dangerous." But yeah, I got their full support.
What's like a day-to-day like on that job, like Secret Service?
So the day-to-day, it was exciting because, you could come across famous people. You got to meet, the president of the United States, which not many people can say they did that. But at the same time, it is the same thing over and over. You are working in posts around the White House. So either you're on a footbeat outside or you're in a post like box where you are letting gates up or you're checking people in through the wave system and making sure that they're vetted to come into the White House. You do get to come across a lot of the media. So CNN, Fox News, all of them are there on the White House premises. So you do get to meet some of them. It was definitely very interesting. The book will show you a lot about how we actually had a lot more fun than taking it as a very serious career. So you see all those FBI and Secret Service books out there where it's talking about how serious the career is. This is a whole different take on that. I'm actually showing the ins and outs of us having fun, pranking each other and doing fun things like that just to keep ourselves entertained at the White House. So.
Wow. So like you've written this whole book, what would you say, without giving away too many spoilers, what would you say is your favorite moment from your time working in the Secret Service?
My favorite moment? Oh, that is tough. I have to say, probably meeting the president and the first lady. Obviously, you have to be very professional, and it was back when cell phones weren't as prevalent and easy to take pictures and stuff like they are now. But I actually, got to speak to them, and it was more of, "Hi, Mr. President." It wasn't anything like a conversation, but to be able to be, a foot away from the president and the first lady was really just awe-inspiring. It was amazing.
Wow. So your book is titled Talkback Barbie. Can you tell us a little more about what the origins of that name are?
Of course. Actually, that's a great question because a lot of people are like, how did you get that name for a book about the Secret Service? That was actually my nickname in the Secret Service. So when we were going, yeah, I know. When we were going through training, you go through 6 months of training. So 3 months at James J. Raleigh Center up in Maryland. And then you go 3 months in FLETC, which is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. And while we were going through training, I'm not very good at taking orders if I feel like things are not exactly correct. Like if I'm questioning why they're telling me to do something that I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It was a military environment. So you just take orders. And I questioned a lot of things. And there are some funny stories in the book about how this occurred. But after this one huge blow up with one of the technicians, and in the book, he's called the mean technician, one of the blow ups I had with him, they all just started calling me Talkback Barbie because they couldn't even believe I questioned him because he was the scariest technician. They couldn't believe I questioned him or even like talked back is what they like to call it. So yeah, and then there's tons of other stories about how I question authority. And so that nickname stayed with me forever.
Great. So let's say you were pursuing a different path. What would you be doing, and why would you be doing it? Do you think you ever would have pursued like a career in like beauty pageantry? I think you had been a debutante when you were younger.
I was a debutante when I was younger, but no, I did not want to go that route. I hated anything to do with beauty pageants. I was kind of a tomboy, to be honest with you. I love makeup and heels and dressing up, but I really love to get down to the nitty gritty. I'm very thick skinned, I think I would term it. I'm not a typical girl. It's very hard to make me cry. It's very hard to offend me. So I have I guess a different outlook on life, but honestly, I really don't think I'd pursue a different path or do anything different than what I did. I wouldn't change any of the experience I had working for the Secret Service and how I even got to the Secret Service. The book talks about all my internships and how I got to where I got. But I wouldn't change a thing because I just loved everything. I loved learning about life through all my mistakes. I've learned to have a tamer mouth over the years. That's helped a lot because I realized you can question things, but some things maybe you should just let it be. But yeah, I don't think I'd change anything. And I discovered by working with the Secret Service that being an FBI agent, it wasn't cut out for me either. I wanted, to be a mom and I wanted to have a family, obviously. And I knew that lifestyle would be very difficult to be able to do both of those things. So I just am doing, working part-time now and promoting my book. And I'm very happy to be doing that.
Would you write more books in the future, like your journey in motherhood and connected to like your experiences with Secret Service?
I've thought about if there would be another book. I was one and done. This was a lot of work. This took me over a year because I did everything myself. Self-publishing, you can do it the easy route and just do it through Amazon. I did it the traditional route because I wanted to start marketing it and getting it out there so I can show publishers that I can sell the book. And I don't know if I have any more material to write on, but if I can think of something, I definitely would. I love the fact that you can laugh at your mistakes and just helps you to see life in just such a better way. So you're not so stressed out and you don't beat yourself over the head every time you make a mistake. It's more kind of laugh at your mistake, learn from it, and go on. So, but we'll see. I'm not quite sure, but I don't know.
So do you think you'd ever want to make Talkback Barbie like a TV show or a movie?
Yeah, so that is my dream, actually. That is where I want to go from here. So I'm working with trying to get in touch with agents and get a publishing company to take on my book. I would love it to be actually published, not self-published. I would love it to be published by a publishing company. And then I'm working with all these connections now that I know people who know people. And so we are trying to get it either as a Netflix series, a movie. something, because the content of this book is funny. And like I said before, it's like Legally Blonde meets Miss Congeniality. So it's going to be funny. It's going to be quirky. It's a lot of learning, and it's a lot of teaching. Men and women can read the book. It's not just about women, but being a woman in a male dominated environment is something that a lot of women, they get into that position and they don't know how to handle themselves. And I think that the book will just shed some humor on that, but it'll also shed that you really can get through anything if you just set your mind right, and you just meet the right people, and you just have a good mindset. I really think that you can accomplish it and work with anybody.
That's true. Like, I've been in a lot of like positions where I'm in like a male dominated room, like especially like real estate networking events. I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. What do I do? So hopefully,
Well,
like,
you feel intimidated because you're a woman. So you feel intimidated because you're around all these men, and, being a woman, a lot of times they think you're more inferior than the men, which we're not. We're all equal, and we can all do the same thing if we just work really hard at what we're doing. I'm not trying to be better than the men. I just want to prove myself and prove my worth and prove that, I can do the job set before me. And that's kind of what the book is showing, is that you really can do it if you try hard enough.
definitely. I really hope that a lot of women actually like realize that, because we're like very powerful, and we should help each other. I really believe that. And I'm sure that you actually do that in your day-to-day life, especially since you wrote the book. So thank you for that.
Dude, I found actually a lot of times working with women, I had a harder time because they kind of would throw me under the bus, or, tell on you for something. And it was really funny. I worked better with men. And so I agree with what you're saying. If we can just work together and support each other, no matter if it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If we can just support each other, it shouldn't be about you trying to be better than somebody else. It should be about us supporting. And if we can do that, I really think the world would be a way better place.
Definitely. So jumping off of that, we're in the segment we like to call past, present, future. So how do you see yourself now compared to 5 years ago?
Wow. Things have really changed. 5 years seems like such a short period of time for me. But 5 years ago, I had just moved down from Northern Virginia back to Georgia with my husband and son. I had to start over. Obviously, I had to find new friends. I had to learn the area again. And life has just changed so much in that 5 years. We bought a house. My son started school. I started my part-time job. And of course, I self-published a book, which is crazy. I really never thought I would be doing this. And I'm very excited for everything that's going to come from this. It's a lot of work, but things happen for a reason. And a lot changes every day, much less in 5 years. So I don't know. I just love where I've gotten in such a short amount of time.
So how do you think 5 years from now will be for you?
Well, I really hope that I have my book published by a publishing company. And I hope that a movie or Netflix series are in the works, or being, filmed or something like that. That's my ultimate goal. And I'm working day in and day out to really make that happen. I've been networking and trying to connect with people and doing things like your podcast, just to kind of get the word out there and let people know about my book. Because if you don't know about it, you can't buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in your day-to-day life, what principles do you live your life by?
So I live my life based on my Christian faith. I do my best to, love others and be kind and work hard. And I just really try to use all the potentials that God's given me. And that's what I looked at my career with the Secret Service. And I looked at all the experiences I went through. And I just really thought that I could show people and tell people just a really inspiring, but good, funny, humorous story. And I don't know, I always try to have a positive outlook on life too. I'm a very glass half full type of person. And I will always try to find the good in anything. And you'll see that in the book big time, where I really try to pull through and just see the good in everything, even when I'm being like torn apart. So if I can do that, that's kind of what I live day by day. If I can just live on a positive mentality every single day.
And what do you think you are grateful for? What would you say?
I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for my husband, my son, my family. Honestly, they keep me moving every single day. They inspire me and motivate me, and they criticize me in a helpful way, of course. And they pray for me. And honestly, if I didn't have their support, I never would have written the book. I mean, I had so much encouragement to keep going when it was hard, and when I couldn't think of anything more to write about, and when I was just tired and staying up late. So they've just been my support system.
So especially during COVID, a lot of people have sort of taken on writing as one of the things that they wanted to get on that they didn't have time for before. As a now self-published author, do you have any advice for those people out there who might be trying to write and they're struggling really hard with it?
Of course, it is a long road, and it is very hard, um, and it's very hard to get it out there to the masses and to get somebody who really thinks that your idea is as cool as you thought, right? But I encourage you, keep writing. How I started, I literally was just diarrhea of the mouth, typing everything I could think of, everything that comes to mind. If it's just a fictional story, a non-fictional story, it doesn't matter. Just write it all out and then pull it apart, put things in chapters, and it's just a process, and kind of do, that. But don't give up. I mean, there's probably lots of people out there who want to hear your story and think it's going to be wonderful and inspiring and encouraging. And maybe you're going to be the next James Patterson. You have no idea. If you have tons of ideas and tons of series, you really just don't know where it's going to go. And obviously everyone thinks their own stuff is amazing. But it's basically just getting it out there and getting it heard. You know, uh, and I think the hardest part is probably getting it through a publishing company. I'm still debating whether or not self-publishing or going through a publishing company is the way to go. I keep hearing conflicting things. So go whichever route you want, but going through a publishing company, it'll take about a year or two, and you don't have to have the whole manuscript actually written. You can just have the idea behind it. And then if you self-publish, obviously you have to do all the work yourself. So those are the two routes that you can take. Obviously I took the self-publishing just because I wanted to start marketing it and getting the book out there quicker than a publishing company would be.
So in college, I remember reading a part of your book. You had initially entered, I think, as a computer science major, and then you ended up switching to different majors.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I went to Virginia Tech, and I started off as a computer science major. I thought so all of the majors I tried were to get me into the FBI. Those were majors that they looked at, and that's what would get me into the FBI. I just did not find it was very difficult for me to pick a major. I picked these majors that were just out of my comfort zone. I was not good at them. So I just kind of kept experimenting. So I did computer science, I did biochemistry, I did accounting information systems, and then I ultimately ended up with political science legal studies, which is basically like pre-law. And the majors were interesting. I learned a lot about myself, what I'm not good at, because I found a very small niche of what I was good at. So I just kept trying and talking to friends and figuring out what major was good for me. And I ended up discovering that multiple choice tests weren't my thing, but writing and constitutional law and stuff like that, those were my niches. And that's why I ended up finding political science, because I was better at that than I was at the accounting and the math and the economics. So you just have to find what you're personally good at, and then you'll find a different major that fits you and your skills and everything.
I see. So if you wanted to enter the Secret Service, you don't need a specific major then, right? Or a specific route?
No, you can have, most people are actually not retired, but they started off in either law enforcement, like just, your local law enforcement, or they were military. That was a majority of the experience of people who entered the Secret Service. And it didn't matter degrees or anything like that.
So I'm not sure if you mentioned this before, but what actually prompted you to be a Secret Service agent? Like, was there something in your childhood that wanted you to be like, oh yeah, that's so cool?
I don't know. My dad sat me down and was like, so what do you want to do with your life? He asked me this day in and day out. I mean, every single day. And when I was 10, I just basically said, I want to be a police officer, you know? And then I was like, you know, I really want to work for the FBI. So since I was 10 years old, I wanted to work for the FBI. That was just something. And so I just got engrossed with FBI novels and books and researching and educating myself on what it took to be an FBI agent and what you needed to do. And I loved it. And obviously the TV shows, you know, make it a little bit more far-fetched than it really is in real life. But it just, that kind of lifestyle just really hooked me. And I just I wanted to really do the investigative type of work more. I wanted to, you know, solve crimes and find murderers, and so that was really what drove me down the federal law enforcement route.
Okay, so now we've come to the question of our show where we get the title from. If you were to leave something in a time capsule for people to dig up 100 years later, what would you put in there and why?
Well, I thought about this, and I have two things I would put in there. So I would put the Bible in there because I would want people to see that it never changes. So 100 years from now, it'd be the exact same as it was now. I think that's really important, and that has to do with obviously my faith. And then second, I would put my book in there. I would put Talkback Barbie, the Secret Service edition. And the reason being, I know that sounds a little perplexing, but the reason being is I think no matter if you're in the past, the present, or the future, I think there's so much that you can learn from this book. Anyone can relate to going through hardships, being defeated and feeling like you're never going to make it, feeling like you're a failure. But the best thing about it is that who doesn't like to laugh at other people's mistakes? And who doesn't like to laugh at just other people being stupid, right? And that's what the book is. It's about bringing to light mistakes and owning up to them and learning from them and growing from them and, you know, and overcoming them though. And setting your life on this new path and doing what makes you happy. And I think that no matter where you are as a person, a male, a female, young, old, I think you can learn a lot from that. And I think the greatest takeaway, honestly, would be that it's okay to laugh at yourself, because laughing at yourself helps you get through the hard stuff much easier. And so I think that's why I would leave my book in the Bible.
So is there anything else you'd like to add or to tell our viewers? Is there a place our viewers can find you on social media?
Yeah, you can go to www.talkbackbarbie.com, and that's my website. You can also follow me on social media, Instagram, Facebook. It's Talkback Barbie 1. And on Instagram, it's just talk-back-Barbie. So you can follow me on all social media sites, and all of that is on my website. So if you just go there, that's the central location to find everything that you need.
Okay. And then where can people buy the book? And do you have any like book events coming up?
All of that's on my website as well, talkbackbarbie.com, on the events page. I have 3 book signings. I have some like internet TV kind of gigs coming up. And I'm going to also do like an author host of a book club, a local book club here in the area in Georgia. So if you're in Georgia, and I know y'all are based in New York, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, any of the online stuff, I can, you know, send links, and I will post all of that on my website.
Awesome. And would people buy the book through your website too? Or can they go through Amazon?
Yep.
Or...
It's for sale on the website, and you can go through there with PayPal, credit card, however you want to do it. And then I actually mail the books out right now.
Okay.
Yep. So I get the orders and do all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm doing it all myself right now.
Before we end the show, do you have a final message that you want to say to all the young girls out there aspiring to, with big dreams, and especially those that might want to enter like the Secret Services or the FBI?
Of course. You know, we're all going to get knocked down, and the biggest thing I can say is just get back up. You are going to be knocked down over and over and over, and you're going to feel like you're never going to be able to make it, and you're never going to be able to get there. But you're never going to get there if you don't get back up. And so I just say, keep pushing for it. If you have dreams and you have goals and you have things you want to do in your life, just keep going. And the biggest thing you can do is network and meet people who can get you to the right person, and keep laughing. That's the biggest thing.
I love that. Well, Lauren, thanks so much for being a part of our time capsule. Thank you to our viewers for watching, and please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to follow Lauren on all her social media channels. And be sure to check out Talkback Barbie, the Secret Service edition. This book is amazing. Tune in again next week to meet another amazing addition to our time capsule. See you next time.
Bye.